From the dim, humming chamber of the Zelnar High Council, alien leaders witness a human act that shatters centuries of arrogance. An ancient ship awakens, responding solely to human commands. Confusion and terror ripple through the council as humans silently prepare their next move, their calm menace promising a devastating shift in galactic power. The chamber was colder than any Zelnar had ever felt, though no frost lay on the obsidian walls. Screens flickered, casting jagged shadows on the alien faces, twisted with disbelief and mounting dread. The Grand Council's observation center perched on the floating spires of Varkesh Prime. This was supposed to be their vantage point of control, yet what they saw defied reason. A massive derelict ship, buried beneath the scorched surface of Earth's dead continent, stirred. Its hull, ancient beyond reckoning, thrummed with power. Then, without warning, a surge of iridescent energy pulsed outward, sending ripples through the void of space and the ranks of the Council alike. "Commander, the vessel's reactivating," hissed the tactical officer, fingers trembling on the console. "But it's not responding to any known commands. No Xelna protocols, no beacon signals." His voice cracked. The Grand Elder, her crystalline eyes narrowing, spoke with venom. "Impossible. Such technology must obey the first species to claim it. The humans were primitive scavengers at best. Their homeworld a death trap. No advanced civilization could survive there." "But it obeys only human commands," the tactical officer corrected, dread thick in his throat. "It ignores all other signals. It is locked to their biometrics. The ship has chosen them as masters." A tense silence swallowed the room as a faint, almost imperceptible pattern emerged on the main display, a countdown, burning downward in crimson glyphs. A signal encoded deep within the ship's AI, awakening. "Why?" The Grand Elder's voice cracked, a rare fracture in her imperious demeanor. "Why us? Why now?" The chamber buzzed with an alien fear that had never before crept into their hearts. Across the galaxy, the Zelnar had believed themselves untouchable, masters of lost technology, rulers over the ashes of civilizations. And yet, here was Earth, their primitive kill zone, waking a sleeping god of metal and power. On Earth's surface, the silence was almost sacred. Commander Aiden Reyes stood on the cracked basalt ridge overlooking the buried ship's skeletal outline, eyes shadowed beneath his helmet's HUD. Around him, a skeleton crew of scientists and soldiers moved with a precise quiet, each step measured, the air thick with anticipation and danger. "System integration at 98%, Doctor," Leeway reported, her voice steady despite the enormity of the moment. "The ship's core is stabilizing. The AI is responding." Reyes felt the cold weight of the ancient ship beneath their feet, a Deathworld relic that should have been a tomb. Instead, it pulsed, waiting. The human biometric key, embedded in the ship's protocols, was a safeguard left behind by an unknown ancestor. Only a human touch could awaken it. "Prepare for final synchronization," Reyes commanded, fingers tightening around the control panel. "Once we activate, there's no going back." A long silence followed, broken only by the faint hum rising from the ship's hull. A deep, resonant heartbeat that grew stronger by the second. Then, through the static on Reyes's comm, his voice cut low and clear. "This is humanity's reclaiming. They never expected us to hold the key, neither should you." The countdown ended. The ship's engines flared, not with fire but with a cold blue shimmer of anti-gravity nanotech awakening, bending gravity itself. The ancient behemoth rose, slow but unstoppable, carrying with it a promise older than any star. Outside the council chamber, the Grand Elder's voice trembled, barely a whisper. "They are not just survivors. They are hunters." The power balance had shifted. The galaxy was about to learn the true meaning of human command. The ancient ship's reactivation sends shockwaves through human command as they grapple with the immense power beneath their control. Scientists race to understand its alien technology, while soldiers brace for inevitable retaliation. The uneasy calm hides growing dread and determination as Earth's harsh legacy fuels humanity's fierce resolve. Inside the cavernous hangar, lit by flickering emergency lights, Dr. Li Wei crouched beside the ancient console, fingers flying over holographic displays. Nanotech swarmed inside the ship's circuits, repairing and reassembling centuries of decay. The atmosphere was thick with ionized particles, an unseen storm brewing within the vessel's metal bones. "This technology, it's beyond anything we've seen," she murmured, eyes scanning fluctuating energy signatures. "Quantum entanglement. Drives, gravitational field modulators, but they're not fully operational. The ship is still waking." Captain Marcus Hill paced nearby, the weight of command settling hard on his shoulders. "What's the risk? Can we lose control?" Lee shook her head, voice tight. "No, not lose control. It only responds to human biometric keys. Your DNA, Commander Reyes, is mine. Alien attempts to override it fail every time. It's like the ship has a consciousness, but bound to humanity." Hill's eyes darkened. "Then we're the key, and the lock." Outside the hangar, the desert night was shattered by a distant roar, the reverberations of the ship's engines folding space-time itself. Soldiers held position, scanning the horizon for incoming threats. They knew the galaxy would react. The Zelnar and others would not stand idly by. Lieutenant Sarah Mbeki adjusted her rifle and glanced at the sky. "They're coming. It's only a matter of time." Reyes's voice came over calm but resolute. "Let them come. We hold the dead giant now. The galaxy forgot the ferocity buried in Earth's soil." Inside the ship's command deck, Reyes finally entered the captain's seat. The console flickered to life, glowing blue and gold, ancient symbols twisted into patterns, language and machine intertwined. He felt the ship's presence like a pulse beneath his fingertips. "Activating cloaking field," Reyes ordered, eyes scanning the readouts. "The ship can bend light, but we need to stay hidden until we understand its limits. The Zelnar think they have the advantage." "They don't." Lee's voice cut in, full of fascination and fear. "There's a fail-safe. If non-humans attempt control, it triggers an EMP cascade. It could cripple any nearby electronics, or worse." Hill's jaw tightened. "A weapon of last resort. That means this ship was built for war, not peace, or built to protect something no one else can touch," Lee said softly. The crew fell silent, each weighed down by the ship's legacy, a relic of a forgotten war, buried on a death world, now reborn through human hands. Outside, alien warships moved in silent patterns across the void, their sensors straining against Earth's scrambled signals. The galaxy was waking up to a new reality. Humanity had found a godship, and it answered only to them. In the dim command room, Reyes's eyes met Lee's. "We have the edge now, but every advantage comes with a price." She nodded. "This isn't just about survival. It's about reclaiming what was lost and showing the galaxy what Earth really means." The ship thrummed beneath them, a sleeping giant now stirring to life, its loyalty irrevocably human. As the ancient ship's systems fully engage, human scientists unravel the mystery of its biometric lock, an impossible technology entwined with Earth's own genetic code. Meanwhile, the alien forces scramble to respond, their confusion deepening as the ship's allegiance proves absolute. The humans brace themselves, knowing the coming conflict will test their survival like never before. Dr. Li Wei's fingers danced across the console, tracing the ship's biometric encryption. The ship was no ordinary relic. Its technology, intertwined with humanity itself, encoded deep within the DNA of those who could command it. "This is beyond any encryption we know," she said, brow furrowed. It's quantum adaptive. The ship's AI synchronizes with human neural patterns. It doesn't just respond to our commands, it thinks with us. Commander Reyes leaned forward, eyes sharp beneath the dim glow of the cockpit. A ship that's alive, but bound to us. Why? Lee's voice dropped to a whisper. I believe it was built by an ancient human precursor civilization. They crafted the ship as a safeguard, a final trump card for a war that wiped them out. Hill paced. Behind them, his thoughts heavy. So this isn't just technology, it's a legacy. We're inheriting a weapon, but one we barely understand. Outside, alien vessels crept closer, silent shadows against the stars. The Zelnar sent probing drones, but each was met with sudden, inexplicable EMP pulses. The ship's defenses were already active, protecting its secret. In the council chambers back on Varkesh Prime, panic was spreading like wildfire. Their control over the ship is absolute, the Grand Elder admitted, voice trembling. This is no ordinary warship. It is a fortress, alive and bonded to humans. Her advisors whispered among themselves, eyes wide with fear. How can a primitive species wield such power? One hissed, because we never understood them, the Elder said, and now we are the hunted. Back on Earth, Lieutenant Sarah Mbeki led a patrol to establish a defensive perimeter. Dust swirled in the desert wind as her squad set up advanced. Nanotech mines, invisible to the naked eye but deadly to any approaching enemy. We hold this line, she said, voice low and fierce. No alien force will take this ship from us. The weight of history pressed down on every soldier. They were the inheritors of Earth's brutal survival, Deathworld fighters forged in relentless adversity. Reyes activated the ship's gravity modulators, feeling the subtle shift in weight and balance. Prepare for long-range scans. We need to know who else is watching, waiting. Lee's face lit with sudden realization. The ship's AI is learning, adapting to our tactics. It's not just a tool, it's a partner. A comm alert flashed. An unidentified signal pulsed at the edge of their sensor range. Reyes stiffened. They're coming, and they've brought something new. The ancient ship thrummed beneath. Them, responding to the rising storm. Humanity had awakened a sleeping titan, and with it, the galaxy's oldest reckoning. As alien fleets close in on Earth, desperation turns to terror within their ranks when attempts to seize the ship trigger devastating countermeasures. Human forces tighten their grip, bolstered by the ship's evolving AI. Both sides brace for an inevitable, brutal confrontation where survival means mastering ancient secrets and deadly new technology. In the cold void beyond the shattered Earth, Zelnar warships glided like silent predators. Commander Valzor's claws tightened around the control console, eyes darting over sensor readouts, filled with static and interference. "Report," Valzor demanded, voice low and sharp. "Ship defenses are active," replied a trembling officer. "Every drone we send is neutralized by an EMP cascade. It's unlike anything in our archives." Valzor growled, his exoskeleton shimmering under the harsh light. "We underestimated these humans. Again. That ship is not a relic, it's a weapon, and it answers only to them." Panic rippled through the fleet, their decades of dominance over the galaxy were cracking against Earth's unexpected resurgence. The Zelnar had always dismissed humanity as a backwater species. Brutal, yes, but ultimately inferior. The warship pulsed in orbit below, its engines humming with power born of ancient nanotech and gravity-bending fields. It was a ghost from a forgotten age, awakening only for its rightful masters. Back on Earth, Lieutenant Sarah Mbeki's squad dug deeper trenches as night thickened the desert air. Their nanotech mines shimmered faintly beneath the surface, waiting. "Enemy fleet detected," her comm crackled. "Multiple vectors converging fast." Sarah's grip tightened on her rifle. "They want the ship. They want it dead, or ours. Neither will happen. Nearby, Dr. Li Wei monitored the ship's AI. The systems were learning from every move, recalibrating defenses, optimizing strategies. "The AI is almost sentient," Li whispered. "It anticipates enemy tactics before they unfold." Captain Marcus Hill stood beside her, jaw clenched. "It's a partner, not a machine. We're not just commanding a warship. We're awakening a legacy of survival and vengeance." In the Alien Council, Grand Elder Zalthar's face was pale. "We face extinction, not from weapons alone, but from a species reborn." Her advisors whispered of surrender, but she would not hear it. If humanity wields this power, mercy will be a forgotten word. The council chamber fell into oppressive silence. Aiden Reyes closed his eyes briefly as the ship's engines flared silently. Around him, the crew braced as the ship slipped into a cloaked ascent, warping space as it moved beyond sensor range. "This is our advantage," Reyes said. "We fight not just with firepower, but with the terror of the unknown." Lee's voice came softly. "The ship remembers old wars, old enemies. We are inheritors of that memory and its fury." Outside, the stars seemed to hold their breath. The galaxy's ancient balance teetered, shaken by the rise of a human command. No one who could yet understand. Humanity's grip on the ancient ship strengthens, but the cost becomes clearer as alien retaliation intensifies. Alien commanders grapple with frustration and fear, while human leaders face the haunting legacy of past wars embedded within the ship's AI. The battlefield shifts into a psychological war where every decision weighs heavily on survival and revenge. The ghostly hum of the ship's engines resonated through the command deck, a pulse connecting past and present. Commander Aiden Reyes studied the holographic star map, the enemy fleet's movements flickering like shadows. "This ship is more than a weapon," Reyes muttered. "It's a living record. Each jump, each attack is etched into its core." "Doctor," Li Wei nodded, her fingers tracing ancient glyphs on the console. "The AI remembers the wars that wiped out its creators. It's like carrying centuries of grief and vengeance. That's why it only obeys us. It trusts our bloodline to finish the fight." Outside the ship, nanotech drones swarmed the perimeter, silently neutralizing Zelnar probes. Lieutenant Sarah Mbecki's squad monitored the defenses, hearts pounding. "With every silent beep, they're testing us," Sarah said, voice steady but tense. "Trying to find a weakness." Back on the alien command bridge, Commander Valzor's eyes flickered with rage. "Send the heavy hitters, no more probes." The Zelnar warships surged forward, unleashing plasma volleys and ion disruptors, aimed to cripple the ancient vessel. But the ship's shields, energized by human biotech interfaces, absorbed the blows, turning the tide of battle. "Shields holding," Captain Hill reported. "Countermeasures are adapting faster than we can predict." In the council chambers, the Grand Elder's resolve hardened. "If we lose this war, our civilization ends. We must exploit the humans' weaknesses." Her advisors murmured, "Their resilience, their unpredictability. They fight like death-world predators," she said bitterly, "and they command a ghost ship that remembers their ancestors' wrath." On board the ship, the weight of history pressed heavily on the crew. Reyes clenched his jaw. "We don't just fight for survival, we fight for the future and to reclaim what was stolen." Lee's voice softened. "And the ship listens. It's not just obeying commands, it's choosing us because it believes in our cause." A crackle in the comm snapped the tension. "Incoming boarding pod," a soldier reported. "Zelnar forces attempting to breach the hull. Prepare for close quarters," Reyes ordered. "We protect this legacy at all costs." The ancient ship groaned as if alive, responding to the threat with renewed ferocity. Gravity fields shifted, corridors reconfiguring to trap invaders. Human and ship merged as one. Outside, the stars watched silently as old wars ignited anew, the ghosts of a forgotten past driving the fiercest battle yet. As alien boarding parties breach the ancient ship's defenses, humans fight fiercely to repel the invasion, revealing the deadly synergy between the ship's adaptive systems and human combat tactics. Amid the chaos, the true cost of wielding such power begins to surface: sacrifice, loss, and a deepening bond between humanity and the ship. Alarms blared through the corridors, red lights flashing in staccato bursts as Zelnar boarding pods slammed into the hull. The ship shuddered, groaning like a wounded beast. "Breach at Sector 7. Lieutenant Sarah Mbecki's voice cut through the chaos. "Enemy boarding pods have docked. They're coming in hot." Soldiers scrambled, weapons drawn, breath sharp with adrenaline. Reyes sprinted alongside them, the ancient ship's dim corridors twisting and reshaping as gravity fields warped. "Hold the line," Reyes commanded, voice steel beneath the roar of explosions. "Use the environment. This ship fights with us." Nanotech sentries deployed from walls, sleek metallic spiders skittering to block intruders, their pincers sparking with deadly precision. The ship's AI flooded corridors with low-gravity fields, pinning Zelnar invaders to walls or floors. Still, the aliens pressed forward, their plasma weapons lighting the shadows with bursts of lethal blue. Sarah ducked behind a bulkhead, firing with ruthless accuracy. "They think this is just a relic. They don't know it's alive," a piercing shriek echoed as one invader dropped, flesh sizzling under concentrated nanotech fire. Yet more poured through the breach. Reyes pressed forward, heart pounding. "Activate defensive protocols Delta 7. The ship responded instantly. Walls shifted, sealing off sections, flooding others with pressurized air or electromagnetic bursts designed to disable non-human tech. Dr. Li Wei monitored the ship's vitals from the command deck. "The AI is synchronizing with combat units. It's predicting enemy movements, adapting defenses in real time. Then let's give it a fight worthy of its memory," Reyes said grimly. Through the storm of battle, the ancient ship hummed a deep, resonant pulse, as if drawing strength from the blood of its crew. In the midst of the chaos, a Zelnar commander snarled, rallying his troops. "Take the captain alive! The ship is their secret!" Sarah's rifle barked in response. "Over my dead body!" Explosions rocked the corridor, lights flickering as soldiers and aliens clashed with brutal ferocity. Reyes found himself face to face with the enemy commander, their eyes locking, predator and prey in a dance as old as war itself. "Why do you fight so hard for a ghost?" the alien spat. "Because it's our ghost," Reyes growled, raising his weapon, "and it only answers to us." The ship's hull vibrated beneath their feet, a subtle warning. The ancient giant was far from finished. As the boarding battle raged, the cost became clear. Lives lost, bonds forged in fire, and a deeper understanding that humanity was no longer a mere survivor, but a reckoning. In the aftermath of the fierce boarding battle, the human crew mourns their losses, while the ship's AI reveals fragments of its ancient past, linking the crew's sacrifice to a greater war legacy. Tensions rise as command wrestles with the emotional toll, preparing for the inevitable next wave and confronting the haunting question, what price will humanity pay to command such power? The silence after the storm was heavy, broken only by the distant hum of the ship's core and the soft beep of medical bots tending the wounded. Shadows flickered as emergency lights bathed the corridors in an eerie red glow. Lieutenant Sarah Mbeki sat against a cold bulkhead, breathing hard. Her squad's casualties weighed on her, a grim tally etched in exhaustion and grief. Captain Marcus Hill entered quietly, face drawn. "We held them off, but at a cost." Sarah's gaze hardened. "We will pay any cost." In the command deck, Dr. Li Wei's hands hovered over the console, eyes reflecting ancient symbols flickering to life. The AI is opening more of its memory banks. It's sharing its history, its pain. Commander Reyes stepped closer, voice low. "Show me!" The ship's hollow projection shimmered, revealing battlefields from a forgotten era, star systems razed, fleets shattered, and a desperate species fighting for survival against overwhelming odds. This was their war, Lee said softly. Our ancestors, humanity's precursors, crafted this ship as a sanctuary and weapon. It holds their memories, their wrath. Reyes clenched his fists. We're not just inheriting a ship. We're inheriting a vendetta. Outside, sensors detected new movements, alien reinforcements gathering at the edges of the system, hungry for revenge. Captain Hill's voice cut in, steady but heavy. We must prepare. This ship is our shield and sword. But every battle draws blood, ours and theirs. Sarah stood, voice resolute. I don't care how many come. We fight until the last breath. Lee looked up, her expression somber. The AI senses our resolve, and it feeds on it. It's bonding deeper with us, but there's risk. The ship remembers pain, loss, and vengeance. It could push us beyond. Survival into something darker, Reyes nodded slowly. Then we control it, not the other way around. The ancient vessel thrummed, a heartbeat resonating through steel and soul. Outside the viewport, stars shimmered cold and indifferent. The galaxy held its breath, watching the rise of humanity's hidden fury. Human leadership grapples with the psychological burden of controlling an ancient, semi-sentient warship while preparing for the next devastating alien assault. The crew's unity strains under the weight of legacy and loss, and the line between human will and ship's influence begins to blur, raising urgent questions about control, sacrifice, and the cost of power. The command deck hummed with quiet urgency. Holoscreens flickered with tactical readouts as Captain Marcus Hill surveyed the starfield. A dozen alien cruisers loomed on the horizon, their sleek silhouettes dark and ominous. Reinforcements incoming, Hill said, voice steady but heavy. They've regrouped faster than we anticipated. Dr. Leeway's eyes were distant, her fingers tapping nervously on the console. The ship's AI is pushing its systems harder than ever. Its core is integrating human neural patterns at an unprecedented rate. Commander Reyes approached, tension etched in his jaw. What does that mean? Is it safe? Lee hesitated. It's becoming symbiotic. The ship is learning not just our commands, but our fears, hopes, even doubts. It can predict our decisions, but that also means it can influence them. Hill's gaze hardened. We must stay in control. The ship serves us, not the other way around. Sarah and Becky joined them, rifle slung over her shoulder, exhaustion visible on her face. Every soldier's counting on us. We can't let this power consume us. Reyes locked eyes with Hill. The question isn't if the ship will change us. It already has. The real fight is keeping our humanity. In the war room, the crew mapped out the impending battle. Nanotech mines were deployed across strategic points, gravity wells prepared to slow enemy approach, cloaking fields primed to mask the ship's presence. We'll fight smart, Reyes declared. We'll hit hard, then vanish before they can react. Lee's voice softened, almost a whisper. The ship remembers old tactics, old betrayals. It's teaching us to be ruthless. Hill clenched his fists. Ruthless is a double-edged sword. We wield it carefully. Outside the viewport, stars blinked cold and distant. The galaxy waited, unaware that humanity held a sleeping giant at their command. A giant waking not just in metal and nanotech, but in the very soul of those who dared to lead it. The countdown to war had begun. The alien fleet closes in for a devastating strike, forcing humanity and their ancient ship into a desperate battle that will test their resolve, tactics, and the fragile bond between human and machine. As the dawn breaks over the conflict, every choice carries weight, and the true price of power begins to reveal itself. The stars outside the viewport were swallowed by the alien fleet's shadow, massive warships forming an oppressive wall against the void. Inside the command deck, the hum of the ancient ship pulsed in sync with human heartbeats. Final preparations, Captain Marcus Hill commanded, voice calm but fierce. This is our moment. We either break them here or fall. Lieutenant Sarah Mbeki checked her rifle's charge, her squad ready in the corridors. They think they can take the ship by force. They don't understand what it means to fight with it. Commander Aiden Reyes moved to the AI interface, his fingers brushing, the glowing glyphs pulsing beneath the surface. The ship is alive. It senses everything, our fear, our hope. Dr. Li Wei watched the tactical holoscreens, noting enemy formations. They're deploying new strategies, attempting to flank and overwhelm. Hill's eyes narrowed. Then we make them regret it. The ancient ship thrummed louder, gravity fields shifting in preparation. Nanotech drones swarmed the hull's surface, invisible barriers shimmering in the darkness. Shields at maximum, reported Captain Hill. Energy reserves steady. Suddenly, alarms screamed. The fleet launched a concentrated volley of plasma blasts and ion disruptors. The hull rocked violently as energy slammed against their defenses. Explosions rippled through external panels, sparks cascading like fireworks in zero gravity. "Brace for impact!" Reyes shouted. Inside, soldiers scrambled, weapons firing in tight corridors. Sarah led her team through narrow passageways, the ancient ship warping gravity to give them the edge. "We fight like Deathworld predators," she said, eyes blazing. "Because we are." The AI responded with subtle changes. Corridors shifted. Walls moved to trap attackers, and gravity fields pinned enemy soldiers where they fell. Amid the chaos, Reyes glimpsed the alien commander on his HUD, a cold, calculating predator with fire in his eyes. "You won't win," Reyes growled. Raising his weapon, the alien snarled, "This ship is ours to claim." But the ship pulsed in response, as if warning the humans, it belongs to those who bear its bloodline. Explosions echoed, lights flickered, and the battlefield became a swirling tempest of steel, fire, and will. As dawn's first light touched the horizon, the ancient ship roared. A Titan awakened and defended by the fury of humanity. The fire at dawn, the storm had come. Plasma fire lit the void like an apocalyptic sunrise, streaks of incandescent death arcing across the black canvas of space. The alien fleet bore down with relentless precision, swarming like a hive of steel and fury, each warship bristling with weapons older than memory and colder than the vacuum they traversed. On the command deck, Captain Marcus Hill stood braced, boots magnetized to the trembling floor as shockwaves rippled through the ancient vessel. The air smelled faintly of ozone and burning circuits, but he didn't flinch. "All batteries. Fire at will," Hill barked. "No holding back." The ship responded, as though it had been waiting for that command for millennia. Cannons older than Earth's recorded history thundered to life, spewing antimatter rounds and dark matter lances into the heart of the alien armada. The recoil echoed deep within the hull, a sacred heartbeat returning to full rhythm. Below deck, Lieutenant Sarah Mbeki's team advanced, their grav steps fluid in the shifting corridors. Enemy boarding parties had broken through, but so had the ship's wrath. Hallways bent and narrowed at will, turning into kill zones. Energy traps lit up like sun flares, reducing intruders to ash in a blink. The ancient intelligence within the ship was not passive. It was enraged. "Secure the atrium node," Sarah ordered, ducking behind cover. "The AI's core relays run through there. If they shut it down, we lose the ship." Her soldiers nodded, rifles humming with lethal charge. Behind them, the walls rippled, the ship adjusting itself to aid its defenders. In the core chamber, Commander Aiden Reyes faced the alien commander across a fractured bridge. Energy shields flared between them, but they both knew it wouldn't last. "You're losing," Reyes said, his voice cold but unshaken. "This ship chose us." The alien's eyes burned with disdain. "It chooses nothing. It obeys power." "No," Reyes replied, stepping forward as his weapon charged. "It remembers." The ship groaned, not in pain but in rage. Glyphs. Along the walls burned bright blue, ancient runes reacting to the emotional fire of its crew. It didn't just fight beside them, it fought for them. As the alien leapt, Reyes fired. A white-hot bolt split the air. Outside, under the fractured remains of the alien's main dreadnought, the sun rose, and with it, so did humanity's defiance. The alien dreadnought drifted in pieces, a broken crown scattered across the stars. Flames licked from its ruptured core, flickering silently in the vacuum. But the battle wasn't over. Not yet. Inside the ancient ship, sirens pulsed a deep, rhythmic warning. Systems flickered as the AI rerouted power, stabilizing what remained. Of the battered vessel, the crew stood in a strange calm, that thin breath between storm and silence, knowing the enemy still lingered and might strike again. Captain Hill leaned over the tactical display, sweat tracing a path down his temple. "Status report," Dr. Li Wei answered without looking up. "We lost dorsal weapons arrays 3 through 7. Casualties in the forward bays, 32. Hull breaches sealed, but the AI's neural relays are fragmented." Reyes limped onto the deck, his uniform scorched, his weapon trailing smoke. "I shot the bastard," he said grimly, "but he vanished before the kill confirmed. He's still out there." Sarah Mbeki emerged behind him, her armor scratched and bloodied. "We cleared the atrium node. The AI is still operational, but it's shaken." Hill turned. "Shaken?" Sarah nodded. "It's not just a machine, you know that. It's reacting like a living thing, wounded, angry, and afraid." The lights around them dimmed, then pulsed red. A low, guttural hum filled the air, not mechanical, not even audible in a traditional sense. It vibrated in their bones. Dr. Wei stared at the central glyph interface. "It's trying to communicate." The ship's AI had always been enigmatic, part relic, part intelligence, part living myth. But now it was changing, or perhaps revealing what it had always been. The glyphs flared. Then, without warning, images flooded the bridge, projected from the ship's core memories, a younger Earth, burning under alien siege. The original builders of the ship, not entirely human, not entirely machine, offering their blood and minds to bind with its systems, a pact sealed in sacrifice. Reyes whispered, "It wasn't built for war. It was born from one." Sarah took a step toward the projection, eyes wide. "It's showing us why it fights, not for orders, not for power, for vengeance, for survival." Hill looked out the viewport, where the remnants of the alien fleet were regrouping in the distance. "They'll come again," he said quietly. "And this ship's bond with us, it's not automatic. We have to earn it. Keep earning it." The projection faded. Silence fell again. Then, in a voice like wind through ancient stone, the ship spoke, not in words but in thought. "You carry our blood, but will you carry our burden?" A question, a warning, a vow. Hill turned to his crew. "Prepare for counter-strike. We finish this, not because we want to, but because we have to." As the remnants of the alien fleet turned, forming a spearhead for one final assault, humanity's last ancient weapon stirred. Its heart was wounded. Its memory was vast. Its rage had only just awakened. Space burned. The remnants of the alien fleet were no longer testing defenses. They were committing. A final wave, fast and brutal, bore down like a collapsing star, all formations stripped away in favor of raw annihilation. Inside, the ship, the hum was now a growl, deeper, angrier. The vessel's core pulsed with crimson light, the glyphs no longer glowing gently but flaring like veins of magma. Captain Hill stood at the center of the command deck, shoulders square, eyes hard. "All hands, this is it. Final wave. If we fall, there's no one left to remember us. Enemy strike group breaking formation, reported Dr. Leeway. They're aiming for the neural core. Again. They think it's our weakness, Reyes said grimly, locking fresh ammo into his rifle. They still don't understand. It's our soul. Sarah Mbeki, bruised but unbowed, moved with her squad toward the lower decks. We hold the core, with everything we've got. The corridors twisted again, not randomly but strategically. The ship was learning, adapting, fighting alongside them as a living, thinking ally. Suddenly, a strange vibration coursed through the deck, not from impact, but from inside the ship itself. The AI was waking further. From the command glyphs, a new interface emerged, elegant, ancient, shaped like a blade of light. Dr. Lee's eyes widened. It's giving us control over systems we've never accessed before. Deep combat protocols, something called Protocol Spearfall. Reyes tapped into the system. It's a full-scale counter-assault, not just defense. Offense. Hill nodded. Slowly. Then we strike. From the ship's belly, hatches opened, and from them launched weapons humanity had never deployed. Kinetic suns, gravitic spears, singularity missiles that folded space as they flew. The alien fleet faltered. They hesitated. In space, hesitation was death. Sarah's team held the core, bloodied but alive. The corridors burned with enemy plasma, but the walls themselves closed around the last attackers, entombing them with finality. On the bridge, Hill stood before the viewport. "Target the flagship," he said. "End this." Reyes synced. The targeting with the AI's newly awakened systems. Firing Spearfall in 3, 2, the main cannon, silent for centuries, opened like a yawning mouth in the ship's bow. Light gathered, dark matter condensed, and the laws of physics bent around a single purpose. Now, a beam of annihilation lanced across space, not light, but pure gravitational force, shredding the alien flagship's core and pulling it inside out before its crew could even scream. The rest of the fleet broke, scattered, ran. Silence. Real silence. The battlefield drifted into stillness, broken only by the flickering wreckage of war. Captain Hill sat down just for a moment, just long enough to breathe. "Report." Dr. Lee scanned the displays. "Enemy in full retreat. No more boarding parties. No signs of pursuit." Sarah's voice came over comms, ragged but alive. "Core is secure. Ships stabilizing. Casualties. Heavy, but we're here." The glyphs on the command deck dimmed, flickering down to a calm, steady blue. The hum softened, not silence but peace. For now. Reyes stepped beside Hill. "That wasn't just a battle. That was a test. The ship, it wanted to know who we are." Hill looked out at the wreckage, stars shining behind it again. "Then let it remember this," he said. "We're not relics. We're not ghosts. We're survivors."